Auto select is this little button that you can toggle on and off on the left-hand side of your track. Not only will it enable editing operations, but also allow you to choose which track is going to be affected by the operation. And here we're going to look at a few examples to understand exactly just how important auto select really is. So in our first example here, we're going to look at ripple delete. We all know that when we hit ripple delete, everything is going to be rippled to close the gap. But if we turn off auto select for our tracks here, and we go ahead and perform the same operation, we're now going to be left with a gap. It's because by turning auto select off here, we have effectively disabled ripple delete for this track. And the same goes for multiple tracks. So here, if we go ahead and ripple delete this first video clip, you're going to see that everything else in the timeline is going to be rippled accordingly. But if we disable auto select for the first track for video and audio, and we do the same thing, you're going to see that only the second track is now being affected. And if we do the opposite by turning off auto select on the second audio and video track and do the same operation, now you will see that only the first track is now being affected by ripple delete. And if you have an in and out point in the timeline, the same rules apply here. So if we go ahead and right now ripple delete, only this part of the timeline is going to be affected. But let's say if we turn off auto select for the second tracks, you will see that only this part of the first track is going to be affected by this operation. Another example here is resizing. If we switch to the trim edit mode, you're going to see that when we resize the in and out points of a video clip, everything else is going to be rippled. But let's say if we turn off auto select for the tracks, now if we do the same thing, we're going to be left with a gap, just like what could have happened if we stayed in the selection mode. Now with multiple tracks, the same principles apply. So if we resize in the trim edit mode, everything else will be rippled. But if we turn off, let's say, auto select for all the tracks, now for both the first track and the second track, we're going to be left with a gap with no rippling whatsoever. When we try to copy and paste a clip onto a different track, auto select becomes even more important. So in this example here, when we copy this particular video clip and we want to paste it onto the second track, by default, the system doesn't allow us to do so because auto select for the first track is turned on. But if we go ahead and turn off auto select for the first track and we do the same thing, now the system will allow us to paste this video clip onto the second track because the second track now is the lowest track in our timeline that has auto select turned on. And lastly, mark clip is another example where auto select is going to make a huge difference in terms of the results. So here in this example, if we go ahead and right now hit mark clip, you're going to see that the clip that's on the lowest track is now going to automatically set in and out points for us. But if, let's say, we go ahead and disable auto select for the first tracks, now the clip that's on the second track is going to be the clip that will set the in and out points automatically. And of course, for shits and giggles, if we turn off the auto select for the first track and the second track, now the clip that's on the highest track is going to be used to help us mark the in and out points automatically. So then now you guys see how important auto select is. We're going to look at some keyboard shortcuts here that's going to help us speed up the operation of this feature. Firstly, if we shift click any auto select buttons in either the video area or the audio area, it's going to turn off and on all the auto select buttons for either the audio tracks or the video tracks. And a similar operation can be performed if we hit Option F9. This will turn on and off all the auto select buttons for all the video tracks. And if we hit Option Command F9, this will turn on and off all the auto select buttons for all the audio tracks. If you want to toggle on and off the auto select buttons for each individual tracks, you can do so by using Option F1, F2, F3. This will toggle on and off auto select individually for each track for all the video tracks. And to do the same for audio tracks, you can use Option Command F1, F2, or F3. This will toggle on and off auto select for all the audio tracks individually. Also, if you want to quickly leave auto select on for only a particular track, you can option click auto select for that particular track. What you will notice is that will just turn off auto select for all the other tracks. And if at this point you want to bring everything back, now what you don't want to do is to option click that same button, and because what you will notice is that will actually reverse the action. So what you want to do in this case is to shift click one of the other buttons for either the video tracks or the audio tracks. That will bring everything back. So I hope this helps, guys, and I will see you next time.